What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. And wow, that's really all I can think of to say about this new ReZero episode is wow. I said last week that the mystery aspect for ReZero was back, and this episode just solidified that in a big way. This episode is perfection. This is one of the best episodes that, in my opinion, ReZero has ever put out, from the voice acting to the OST choices to the character acting. Everything is just so good about this episode. I loved it from top to bottom. So, without further ado, man, let's just get into it. Let's talk about this brand new episode of ReZero Season 4. So, first things first, we start right at the beginning of the episode where we pick up right where we left off last week, and we see Subaru just have a complete and utter breakdown. But what's interesting about this breakdown is that Subaru, in my opinion, is completely disassociating from reality here, right? We all know at this point, like it's clearly obvious that Subaru is the one that killed Meili, but he can't accept it in this moment, right? He starts disassociating from reality because he can't accept the fact that he killed somebody. Like you see him look at his arm at the carving that subarunatsuki was here. I even think he thinks subarunatsuki is a completely separate person, and he's disassociated so much in that moment that he doesn't even view himself as subarunatsuki. Because if you think about it, this version of Subaru, like, he just got here from his real world with his mom and his dad. He left everything behind. He got taken away, and now all he knows in this world is that people are trying to kill him, or so he thinks. He keeps dying. Horrible things keep happening to him, and I think it just broke him. Like, you see in this episode, like, he's like putting his hands on his head, and like he's just breaking down, and you see him just disassociate. And that's what's so good about this moment right here, is seeing Subaru come to grips with the fact that he did kill somebody, and now he has to learn how to live with that. So after that moment, we then see Subaru take Meili's body, and like he hides her behind a desk. And I love that. I love that moment so much because that's the moment where you see Subaru accept that he's done this horrible thing. And now he has to hope that nobody catches on. And then as soon as he leaves the room, in comes Emilia, his bright shining light. I love this moment so much because after Subaru came to terms with like this horrible thing that he did, having Emilia come in, his bright shining light coming in, being like, I don't want you holding onto this burden all by yourself. Like, let's hold on to these burdens together. I love that moment. It really rings true to what happened in season 2, where like they essentially like became this like really great partnership. So I like seeing stuff like that because it reminds me of season 2. So that's a really good moment. But then after all the stuff with Emilia, we then move on to Rom coming in, and then we go back to the library. And what I love so much about this is that Meili's book is here in the library. So now everybody knows, or they're at least putting it together, that Meili is dead. So Subaru is like, you can see that Subaru is panicking a little bit because, like, oh no, like, am I going to get exposed? Are people going to find out what I did? But nobody really knows that it's him. But you see, but there was actually one scene that I really liked where everybody wants to go look for Meili, and Shaula comes in after everything, and Shaula like is talking to Subaru like, "Do you want me to go look for Meili?" And I've been like, I don't know, I've been like curious of Shaula for a while now, but this was the moment right here where I think something's going on with Shaula. I think Shaula is hiding something. I think Shaula is behind everything. And I also think that subconsciously, because she views Subaru as her master, when Subaru told her, yes, please go look for Meili, I think Shaula subconsciously took that as like, okay, go move the body. I don't know if that's like an actual thing. That's just how I took it. That's kind of how it felt too, because Shaula is so dedicated to Subaru, especially after that hug from last episode. I think she would do anything for him now at this point. So I think she might have moved the body. But as after that moment, like let's move away from that. I want to actually talk about what happens now with the book because we see Subaru go and read the book, and we just get one of the best flashbacks I think we've seen in ReZero. Meili, in my opinion, was screwed from the get go. She had no hope, in my opinion, simply because of like her situation. The moment her parents abandoned her or whatever happened with her parents, like she had no hope. And that's honestly really sad because Meili is a character that could have been like a positive and happy person. But because of her situation, because of everything that happened to her, like this is who she became, and it's honestly kind of sad when you think about it. She was a character that really had no hope in the beginning. So we see essentially like her being raised by Mabeasts, and that's why I feel like she has such an affinity with them and why she can control them because she was raised by them. And then you see her essentially become like the queen of all these animals. Like as she grows up, she learns their ways. She essentially becomes a Mabeast, and she becomes like the queen of all the Mabeasts until Elsa shows up and kills all of them and like brings her into like their fold. Can I just say it was so great to see Elsa again. Like we haven't seen Elsa like in physical form since season 2. So getting to see Elsa just like fight again, getting to see like her and Meili's like early days where she gave Meili I think her first ever bath. I like that was actually kind of like a moment that I felt like humanized her in a way because yes, Elsa is like a completely like evil character, but in that moment where she's bathing Meili, that kind of felt like a human moment, and I think for Meili, she kind of felt the same way. But during and over that flashback, you see her kind of start to mirror Elsa a little bit more, and then we get to one part of the flashback that I thought was just insane. We get to see Capella again. And dude, getting to see Capella and getting to hear her voice acting was so insane to me. I didn't realize how much I miss Capella. Capella is such a great character, but she was also so messed up because everything that Capella did, like during this flashback, is just brutal. And it only goes to enforce like Meili's mindset going forward. Yes, everything that Capella did was horrible, but it also informed how Meili becomes later on in life. That's like the interesting dichotomy with them. Like Capella is a monster, and you can clearly tell that she traumatized Meili in a way that I don't think will ever be fully fixed. And it shows later on because it's just reflected in how she acts now. And like and can you because you can see later on in the flashback like when she's locked in the room by herself and like she doesn't have Elsa anymore because Elsa's dead, right? Like and then she's pretty much talking about like who do I imitate because Meili is a character that doesn't like understand emotions or anything like that. All she knows is how to like imitate people. And now you can clearly see that she's kind of embodying Capella a little bit, but primarily Elsa. That's what's so good about Meili now. She's embodying Elsa because she doesn't know how to be anybody else. And I love that because I always felt like during this season, Meili kind of like reminded me of a younger Elsa. And I couldn't figure out why. But now I do because all she knows how to do is imitate people. So she doesn't know anything about emotions. She can only kind of like replicate them. And now all she's doing is essentially emulating Elsa. That's genius. That's genius writing on Tabe's part, man. I love that. That was such a good moment. And then, dude, the best part of this entire flashback, man, is when Meili gets to the library and she comes across Subaru, right? And Subaru at this moment is just looking to like read a book, right? So she runs away from Subaru and then she goes back. And in that moment, I think she was going to kill Subaru because she doesn't want anybody to like see her. She doesn't want to be known or anything like that. So I think she was going back to kill Subaru, but in that moment, Subaru's reading a book, and then you see him just start to talk to her. He starts talking to her about like her true desires and stuff like that, and then like he cocks his head back to look at her. Oh, dude, like, and that was such a crazy moment. But what I want to talk about here is I don't think that's Subaru. I think Subaru somehow, some way, is being body jacked because he acted similarly when Betelgeuse took over him all the way back in season one, right? Like you could clearly tell that wasn't Subaru anymore, but he was kind of acting this like the same in this episode. So it's definitely not Betelgeuse because Betelgeuse is dead, but somebody is hijacking Subaru's body. But what's interesting about it is I think they're able to turn it off at will. So I feel like it's all determined by some kind of like trigger or something like that. But someone's definitely hijacking Subaru's body. I just don't know. I have no idea who it could be though. That's like the most fascinating part about it because like after that moment, it then like flashes back to like where we were last episode, where Amelia is like, "Did you mean what you said like yesterday?" And what she means by that is what Subaru said in the library of like follow your desires. And in that moment, like I said, I think whoever is hijacking Subaru can turn this on and on at whim because you see like this evil smile come on his face. He's like he's like we can't do this here. Then they go to the room and that's where he kills Meili because he doesn't want anybody to like find out or anything like that. And I think he now views Meili as a threat, and that's why he kills her. And then after he kills her, that's when he lets go of the possession, and that's when Subaru has his breakdown again. If that's what's going on, I think that's genius. That is so cool to me. If whoever is hijacking Subaru is doing this solely to mess with his mind, I think that's straight up a genius thing that they could be doing. I would love that so much, dude. Like that just makes it even better to me. And then you see him like wake up, right? And like I said, all the stuff with Shaula happens, like where Shaula's like asking, "Do you want me to go look for Meili?" He says yes. I think, like I said, I think that's Shaula, like in that moment, being subservient to him and going to maybe dispose of the body. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Shaula anymore, but I honestly think that could be the case because of like how loyal she is to him, and maybe she's like reading between the lines and knows what's going on. But that's also very interesting. But dude, what's so cool though is like Meili just haunting him the entire episode. And dude, the facial expressions that Meili has, like as she's like following him around, like every time Subaru's like talking, and every time you think Subaru is like making a connection with people in the group, like when he's talking to Emilia and Julius at the table, you then see like just Meili come back into frame. It's so good. Like Meili is just such a good character, man. I love how they handled like Meili kind of possessing Subaru in this moment or in this episode. I thought it was so good. It left for some very interesting conversations, but the conversation that I thought was the most interesting was when Subaru was like just in the room resting by himself, like after talking to Beatrice, right? Where Beatrice like looked at his hand wound and healed him up. And what I loved the most was when Meili was talking to him, and Meili is essentially asking him, "Hey, older brother, do you know this saying like murder is a habit?" Like that gave me chills because like that's that pretty much just informs everything that happens in the rest of the episode. So now we have that like pretty much in our minds for the rest of the episode because after this point, Subaru like gets up and he's thinking to himself, oh, like he gets up and Meili on the other side of the room is just like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "I just have to go see for myself." And he's going to see the body because he can't like let it rest, right? Like even though nobody else can find it, I think like Subaru in that moment cannot let that rest. So he goes back to the room where he left the body. He goes back and the body is gone. That's why I think Shaula might have moved it or somebody moved it. I don't know who could have possibly moved the body, but something is going on, right? And Subaru is like at a loss because Subaru's like, where's the body at? Like, it was just here. Nobody else knew where the body was. Like, I'm the only one that knew where it was. How could it be moved? Like, who could have moved it? Like, and then he's talking about like these people that I'm learning to love. Can I even trust them? Are they trying to kill me? Like, Subaru is still at a loss. He has no idea what to do. And then Rom comes in. Rom coming in changes literally everything about this entire episode because for me, I like I said, I was worried that Rom wasn't really going to do anything for like the rest of the season. I kind of thought like a few episodes ago that was kind of like her moment because they kind of have been ignoring her in this loop. But what's interesting is that Rom always suspected him, even though like this loop Subaru never had an interaction with Rom. She always suspected him. So we get like we see Rom essentially say, "I I know you're a fake, right? Like should I call you the fake Barusu?" And you see her put up like her fingers, and you see, or like, I think she was using the power that she used all the way back in episode two. Because if you notice, when Subaru got up to leave, Patrasche looked at him, right? Patrasche was looking at him. And actually, now that I think about it, Patrasche, there's so many instances where Patrasche has just been staring at Subaru, like not saying anything, not doing anything. What I think that is now is I think Rom was looking through Patrasche because we know she has the ability to do that. We know she has the ability to look through like these like different like we saw her do that with the birds all the way back in episode two. So I think she brought that back. She brought that back to try to gather intel on this version of Subaru because she doesn't trust him. She hasn't trusted him since this whole amnesia plotline began. And now it's all making sense why Patrasche has been getting so much screen time because Rom has been using her as a way to gather intel. She's been seeing everything through Patrasche's eyes. And this moment right here was the final catalyst, right? Her looking through Patrasche's eyes when Subaru got up to leave was the final straw because, like, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe she could even hear through Patrasche too because she could probably hear Subaru talking to himself, talking about like how he needs to go like see for himself. And that's when Rom was like, okay, I'm just going to follow him now because now she's pieced everything together herself. Rom has essentially been doing her own investigation behind the scenes this entire time. And that is so cool to me. I love that. And Patrasche was like her accomplice, even though Patrasche didn't know. That is so fascinating to me. I love that so much. And then in that moment, when Subaru realizes that he's been caught and there's nothing else he can do, like Rom is probably going to expose him, you see the camera go up towards Rom's neck. It has been foreshadowed throughout this episode that Subaru is ready to kill again, right? It looked like he was ready to kill Beatrice because like he thought Beatrice was going to see the subarunatsuki was here carving on his arm. Like he was ready to kill her then. He was willing to kill Emilia at the start of this loop. And now we're finally back. We're finally back here in this moment. Subaru is ready to kill Rom. Nobody's here to stop him. And in that moment, you just see Subaru say murder, and then you get to hear Meili, the person who has been haunting this narrative, the person who's been haunting Subaru and this loop, and everything that we've learned about her this episode, we see her bring back the phrase, is a habit. And with that moment, we see Subaru is about to go back to that habit because once you murder somebody to solve a problem, murdering another person makes it seem so much easier to eliminate that problem. And now he's going to go back to that. I love this episode. This episode is perfection. Like I said before, everything about this episode is great. Like, dude, The voice acting here, Meili's voice actress is putting on the performance of a lifetime. Subaru's voice actor again in sub and dub crushes it like from beginning to end. Like you get to see like the Subaru voice acting where he's having his breakdown and everything else, and then Possession Subaru is even better. I think there's something going on there. Like I clearly think he's being possessed. I just don't know from what. At first I thought it was like mana, but now I think it's like a possession. So I want to find out who's possessing him. I hope we find out more next episode. But dude, what an episode. And now next episode is the finale of Core 1. Dude, what am I going to do without ReZero, man? Like this cliffhanger alone is so hard to deal with. What am I going to how am I going to wait until August after this next episode? But man, like I said, dude, this episode is just perfect from beginning to end. If there's anything that I missed, though, please let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, you guys, I'm going to talk to you for the finale of Core 1 for ReZero Season 4. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.